right, I don't think you actually understand how powerful you are, because the truth is most of the world are not aware to it. And I've managed to piece it together over the last year, allowing me to completely change my life. And for one, I have the control and the power of who I'm becoming. And as a result, that is reflecting on the life that I'm now living today. But most people are caught up living in an effect. And when I say an effect, there's a cause to everything, cause and effect. But everyone and the reality that we are living in is the effect. But most people try changing the effect by another effect, but not realizing that everything starts from the cause. And the cause is being you. Everything starts from you. So take ownership for that. And once you can actually bring your attention, okay, I've got to take ownership and responsibility, because everything in your life up until this day, the good and the bad, it is your fault. And that is okay. It's the awareness to it. Because a lot of people shame themselves over that. They avoid their thoughts and stuff. But this all creates your evidence-based self-story. Identifying to yourself, this is who I am and this is what I'm worth. So to have the actual understanding of how powerful your thoughts are, what you give attention to, your energy will follow. Where focus goes, energy flows. So for one, we've got to have the awareness of our thoughts on a day-to-day, because that is truly what is leading us down, whatever the reality is that we're living, because your thoughts hold the power. For example, so many people can get caught up like, oh, I'm such an unlucky person, or oh, nothing ever goes my way. Oh, this is annoying me. Whatever it is, these negative emotions that you are giving power to, naturally, because that is where your thought goes. If there's an emotion on that, it becomes an emotionally charged thought, and that becomes more powerful. And as a result, that is where energy goes. So if you're focusing on bad situations in life and there's emotion attached to that, naturally you're going to be living in bad situations, because that is where your mind is focusing on. And obviously, if you give your attention and focus to it, it's going to be attracted back into your life. I had to realize this myself, because for so long I did think, why am I always getting in trouble when I was younger, getting arrested by like police and stuff? But that's because I was very much just doing the same thing over and over. I wasn't trying to change my life. Like there was no pattern. It was just the same thing. But for me to actually shift and start looking at my life through a new lens and build a life that I actually love for myself, it's come from focusing internally. Everything starts internally. And again, just to clarify, it's the cause. The cause shapes the effect. A lot of people try changing, oh, I'm not enjoying this job, let me try change another job. Or it could be a relationship. Nah, let's try a different girl or boy. But the truth is, you have to change, and you've got to be aware to that. And when it actually comes to changing, it comes from, for one, identifying, okay, this is what I have lived my life up until now. How can I take the next step? For one, getting so clear on who you truly want to become. The clearer you can identify who you want to be in your life, the more you're going to have to build around yourself. And get creative with it, because your imagination is the creation of your reality. You can create anything into existence. This whole world has been designed. So identify yourself. Who do you truly want to become? And let your mind create. And the next most important thing is what. What specifically do you want in your life? And it's okay if at first you think, I've got no idea. To be honest, I was so stuck and I was so lost as well. I could not have told you 6 months ago the life I've been now living today. But I've been focused on myself internally, and my what, it evolves. It naturally evolves, but I'm so focused on who I'm becoming, aligning my mind to my target, that it's natural to me now. And this has become a part of my identity. So the who and the what, both so important. And then the third one, equally just as important, is the why. Why do you actually want to change your life? Why are you doing this? And when you can have your why, which is so meaningful, it's going to be pulling you through on days where you don't want to. And that's what separates it, because a lot of people will try and then they just quit when it gets hard. But you're getting so clear on who you're becoming, what you're building, and then that why pulls you through again when you don't want to. And as a result, you're going to have that tunnel mission, that tunnel vision as well, to keep pushing every single day. And that's the power you want in your life. And once you can get so clear on those three, okay, so we work out who we want to become, what it is we want to build, and why we want to do it. It comes from, for one, just taking the small wins throughout your day. The more small wins you can gather, you're collecting evidence. Every single decision in your life is collecting evidence, because your brain is always listening. It's always there. The words you say about yourself, what is being programmed into you, that's why your surroundings are so important as well. And having the mindset and the awareness to it as well, that you have control. The beliefs that come into your brain, I know it's unfortunate if you're around like other people who have shitty words that they're saying, shitty beliefs, whatever, but if you're naturally around them, you're absorbing that into you. So you need to be careful of your space at the end of the day, and careful of your mind, because your mind creates. So protect your mind, because the mind that you have today is obviously going to result in 3 months' time, 6 months, a year. It's the effect. But for now, focus on the cause. The cause is the most important thing, and that's who you're becoming in your life. And the clearer you can get on it, the more vision you're going to have to move towards. And I promise you, once you start showing up for yourself consistently, It might feel weird at first. It does naturally because you're creating a new identity. You're shifting your frequency to a new path that you want to go down. And when I say frequency, because this is a word that is talked about a lot, the frequency you're in. The frequency is the collective of your mindset, what's going on inside. So your perception, your emotionally charged thoughts, the beliefs you hold about yourself, the reactions that you have in life, the conviction about yourself. All of this is the frequency, and it's a part of you. And you want to shift your frequency so you're pointing it in a direction to where you're going by getting everything aligned, truly having that self-respect for yourself. And again, it comes from focusing on those small wins. The small wins gather. It's like collecting evidence. See, is it like you're playing a game? Each one, it's a little bit of XP. Just the smallest decisions in life. There's literally endless things you can do, but count it as a win. And I promise you, once you build that momentum, it's going to start compounding. And consistency always compounds. Positive or negative at the end of the day. That's why there's the saying, the richer get richer while the poorer get poorer. That's because, for example, poor people are focused on their poor situation. As a result, because they are focusing so heavily on that, they're attracting more of it. Whereas the rich people, they figured it out. They know that success follows. They know how to attract. And first, you've got to become the person to attract in your life to get what it is that you truly want. And to also understand too that as well, because it's the same in nature. There's so many cues in nature. This is something that is like, it's tickling my brain recently. But for example, let's say wind gets a little bit of momentum. The more momentum it gets, it can turn into a tornado. It's the same with a snowball going down like a hill. The more momentum that snowball gets as it's going down, it can turn into a whole avalanche. It's the same with you as a person. The more momentum you get, positive or negative, that is the way you're going to go down. It's going to compound, creating your self-worth. So taking that into account, you can create whatever it is with your life. If you've got the conviction to follow through on these small wins, it will pick up together. And also what is so important is detaching yourself from the how. So many people get caught up on like, yeah, I know what I want to do, I know what I want to do, I know who I'm going to become, but how am I actually going to do it? The how is the least of your worries, because everything in life changes. And again, like through the year, typically, there's like 4 quarters. Obviously, you've got like autumn, summer, winter, spring. Naturally, the cycles change. You have to be adaptable in the external. It's always going to be adapting. Like for me, 2 months ago, I'm doing something very different to what I was doing 2 months ago. But I'm still the same person. My frequency is more solidified with the path that I'm on. And I'm not dependent upon these external changes. So you want to be in a calm state where you're good with something and you're good without it. Because focusing on the how, you're going to be more attached to the how. And you have to let go of the how. Focus on you. Trust your mind with what you're becoming, because the more that your mind is aligned, you're going to have more vision to move towards. To actually align yourself to, for one, detach the how and focus on the path that you're going down, your brain needs to be aligned. There's 2 parts of your brain. There's the conscious mind and then there's the subconscious mind. The subconscious is about 95% of your brain. So pretty much everything. And that is running automatically. It's the behind the scenes. But we all know the behind the scenes, it always leads to the main stage. And that's what you have to take into account. And typically your subconscious is running automatically through what you've already experienced from when you were young. It might be like past trauma, situations as well, what other people have said, what you've seen. All of this goes in your subconscious and it's stored, thinking that this is you. That's why for me, naturally, I can reflect when I was younger. I was living a life of this character because I was chasing the approval of other people at a young age. I liked this attention of being known as, oh, like Noah's always the one in trouble, Noah's this, Noah's that. My subconscious liked that feeling, it was approval. So on a subconscious level, I was doing more stupid shit. But now I can understand that and I've managed to redirect myself, to align myself to where I truly want to go. So for one, you want to have your conscious and subconscious mind literally aligned like that. Because that is why a lot of people say one thing, but then end up doing another thing. Because consciously, yeah, you can focus, but subconsciously, it's different. And to actually understand the subconscious, the gateway to it is through emotion. Everything is from emotion. And emotion comes from within the heart. To actually put this into perspective, there's 2 electromagnetic fields in your body, one in your brain and one in your heart. The one in your heart is roughly about 60 to 100 times bigger. It just shows how powerful your heart is for one, and the emotion that you hold within. Because again, where you're giving your focus to and emotion follows, that is obviously naturally going to reflect internally, causing the external to follow. So for one, have the awareness that emotion is everything. And for your subconscious, there might be past experiences, trauma for whatever, but it will be lingering inside of you. Never avoid it, because the illusion of avoidance is always just going to be lingering in your brain as well. If there is certain blocks that do come to mind, whether that's doubt or fear or like scarcity, don't avoid them, sit with them, question them as well when they come into your brain, because you can always redirect yourself. So for one, taking the time to question your thoughts And the more that you build up this awareness and the control over your brain and who you're becoming, you're going to have more power. You're going to realize truly how powerful you are, because once you've got your conscious and your subconscious aligned with where you're going, it becomes unstoppable. And the more that you're building these small wins with the path that you're on, that momentum is just going to compound. You're just going to keep going. You want to think of it like a tree in a storm. It could be the worst storm, tornadoes, everything, hurricane, but that tree will still stand still because it's got such deep roots in the ground. It might have branches snap off, whatever, but they grow back. It's adaptable. But the deep roots are what holds it together. And it's the same as us with humans. The deep roots of a tree, that's like our subconscious. That is what holds us together. That's why a lot of people will naturally break in a certain situation. For example, let's say a bad situation happens, but because they react to it, the subconscious patterns, they don't have control, causing them to, and then they would deplete their emotion, for example. But by you having the deep roots in your subconscious to hold yourself powerful, any situation in life, you're not going to react to it. The first initial instinct is to react. As humans, it goes back years and years ago, from like survival, like you had to survive as well. So that is part of our brain, but you can catch yourself not to react, because we always want to respond in life, and that is the most important thing. I know for one, I've spoken a lot of wisdom, but it all makes sense. It all makes sense if you've got to, for one, absorb this information into you, but start taking the action to building a life that you truly want to live. Because the more love you have for yourself, you're going to be flowing, and you're going to have this trust for who you're becoming. Because truthfully, everything in this life happens for a reason. So always look for the solution in any single problem, because if you do, you're going to see doors where other people see walls. So always look for the lesson as well. But yeah, genuinely, love yourself, love who you are becoming on this path to creating the life that you want to live, and keep going, because you can create whatever it is with your mind.